Hello everybody to a brand new Let's Play series in HOI4 Kaiserreich. Today we are going to be playing as the Netherlands. So we're probably going to be siding with Germany in this campaign. Because last time, as the United Baltic Duchy, we completely screwed up and they got destroyed. So let's try to rectify those mistakes this time around. So, you know, we have our territory over here. We have a small colonial empire. We got some territory over here in South America. We got some Caribbean islands. And, of course, we have the Dutch East Indies, which is a little puppet state. There is, of course, the chance that Indonesia might rise up in rebellion. And that the Japanese might invade it in the future as well, which might be a problem. We'll kind of see how that turns out. But for right now... we have our 8 divisions. I'll put them on the border with Germany for now. It really doesn't really matter where they actually are. We'll assign you in charge. Assign a field marshal. A 2422 is pretty okay, and as well as he's got an upgrade. But we have no command power, so we can't really do anything with that. At least right now. So the Netherlands in 1936. The Netherlands was one of the few countries in Europe to preserve its neutrality in the Weltkrieg. Despite discussions about joining the war on the side of Germany, though the Netherlands profited greatly from the post-Weltkrieg economic boom, a considerable part of its economy is now in German hands, with large-scale investments held by German companies. Furthermore, leftist ideas have been gaining serious traction in the Netherlands ever since the fall of France and Britain to syndicalism in the 1920s, with reactionary ideologies also gaining momentum. Dutch democracy is surely to be tested by rising global tensions and any collapse of the nation's economic prosperity. Well, hopefully, as long as Black Monday never happens, we should be okay. Okay, so we got to pick our research, and of course we're going to be going for our basics here, which is, I mean, actually, you're already research, fantastic. We'll go for our 4% research speed upgrade, and then we'll go for production efficiency cap, as well as construction speed. And what decision? We'll take our Army Navy experience, that should be okay. Take control over the government Navy. That's for the Dutch East Indies, which I don't think we need to do, at least not right now. We should be fine. Stabilize the government by completing one of the political focus branches. After June 1st, 1937, we can join up with the Reichsmacht. I think we're going to do that as early as we possibly can. And we'll go for, let's just say 2 convoys, right? Actually, we have 400 convoys. So, you know what? Let's go for some submarines then instead. And what national focus do we want? Of course, we can't do Black Monday quite yet, so I guess we'll go for the Dutch Army. Seems well enough. It's also going to be done in 14 days, which is actually quite nice. And we're not training troops, but that's okay. I don't think I want to train any units right now. Subject. Do you have anything that I can use? You have rubber. So I'll definitely take the rubber from you. And steel, we'll get that from the Germans. So. Yeah, we're using for some aircraft here. We're not going to be building artillery as fast as I would like, but that's kind of okay. I mean, we do have positive amount of every type of equipment. So your infantry some artillery in it, and you are just like garrison units. Okay, so let's just train up, let's say 2 of you for now. Nothing too crazy at the moment. It looks like we can also have 23 divisions in total, which I think is actually a pretty decent amount. And we should have, you know, all the right population for maybe even hitting that limit. We'll see. Well, Kerensky has been shot. I don't think anybody is surprised by that news. How many ships? We have 27 ships here. We'll assign an admiral. We have 25 aircraft. And I'm assuming they're probably, yeah, all fighters. Put it on air superiority, at least for right now. Even though, of course, you're not really going to be used for anything. It's January 14th. When does, I'm trying to remember when Black Monday happens. Is it February or is it March? Because you're actually 7 days... We just had a time penalty by 4 years? Or snorkel. Okay, so it's one specific technology. Or we go for... You're both the same. You're both for infantry equipment. 70 days? I think we're just going to go for all the basic levels here. The Dutch Army plan. Tensions are running high around us, causing our army staff to hold a meeting to decide upon the doctrine for our army. The more traditional part of our general staff wishes to concentrate on defense of our country, repairing and reactivating the traditional defensive lines, making use of the water to stop the enemy. However, some note that these tactics may not work anymore due to the changing nature of warfare, and have expressed that the Dutch army should be a highly mobile force, capable of motorized troops and tanks to respond to threats quickly and decisively. More naval-oriented officers, however, see the role of the army to be subsidiary to the naval force, with an army of specialists conducting operations around our empire, allowing for a small but highly effective army. The navy keeps the enemy at bay. Yeah, like defensive structures. Really, I don't think are really that good. Especially if we're going to be joining the Reichspact in this current position, like it doesn't make a lot of sense. Also, every province in the Netherlands has like a level 2 fort, or at least a level 1 fort. Why are we so defensive? I don't know what's really happened with us, but I guess I'll take it, just in case. You guys have finished. We're going to go for a mobile army. Your anti-aircraft guns will allow us to recruit bicycle divisions, which I think actually might be unique. Like, I don't really see bicycle divisions that often. But you're 70 days. And what's your plan? Other navy. The best submarines? Yeah, no, I definitely think that's going to be the best option for us. Because I think the submarines really are just the, they're just the cheapest ships to make. And because they're so cheap, you can pump out a ton of them. And the only thing I really use my navy for ever is for planning naval invasions. So the more ships, the better, I think, in that regard. Central European time conversion. As early as the end of the Weltkrieg, there were existed suggestions that the Netherlands, currently operating under Greenwich Mean Time, should move to Central European Standard Time instead. Since the British Revolution, however, these calls became increasingly virulent, as there are no longer any significant trading partners in the time zone. The British and French syndicalist regimes have yet to be diplomatically recognized by the Dutch authorities, and Flanders Wallonia has already moved to Central European time under German pressure. This debate has quietly carried out through the 1930s, raging between the camps arguing that the Netherlands should follow Amsterdam's neutral time zone, and a faction that believed the Netherlands should move to the Kaiserreich's time zone. They are, after all, our single most important trading partner, while an accord in favor of the latter has finally reached in 1935. Being that the 1st of February of 1936 would be 1 hour longer to put the nation clock on par with the Reichspact, the ultimate decision is up to us. Let us go ahead. We'll be on the same time zone as the Germans. I think it just makes a decent amount of sense. And Afghanistan or India are at war, but that's not a huge surprise. They're at war basically all the time. And Black Monday has now just occurred. I will still allow this to finish. It's only going to take like 19 days, which isn't too bad. The Berlin stock market crashes. February 3rd, 1936, the Berlin stock market crashed, plunging the world into a depression. Already it being labeled the so-called Black Monday crash, our nation has strong economic ties to the Reich, and many German companies are now shutting down their Dutch factories, plunging hundreds of thousands into imminent unemployment. Our banks were greatly exposed to the impact of the crisis, and its effects are already becoming evident across most of the country. So what penalties are we having? 5% stability, on top of another 20% stability loss, 60% construction speed lost, and then 50% factory output. That's actually really, really bad. I'm always like surprised how different Black Monday could be, depending on which country you are. Like, the fact that our factory output is actually worse than Germany right now, I guess maybe that kind of makes a little bit of sense, because we're so reliant on the German economy. So we have right now which is also negative 5% stability. The Amtent Arbeitband, or civil servant band, blocks government officials from joining any far-left groups or the Landschwach, in hopes of halting the momentum of these undemocratic ideologies. So China is exploding. Everybody there can be at war with each other, and you have Anqing. Ready battleships. What do you do for us? 30 days. Destroy all coastal offensive ships. You use coastal forts, but you destroy all coastal defense ships? How many coastal defense ships do I have? I don't know. So I'm not going to click the button just in case. But of course, we have to deal with the aftermath of Black Monday. That's already going to give us a 50% stability boost, 40% construction speed, 40% factory output. You actually make Black Monday really not that big of a deal. I mean, it's still bad, of course. But removing a lot of the penalties in a single 70-day focus, I mean, I'll take it. I will take it. No questions asked about that. Of course, then we still need to stabilize the government. I mean, I would like to annex Belgium, but if we join up the Reichspact, that seems very, very unlikely. The Moxie's been restored to Australia. So congratulations to them. Take control of the government navy. I also don't see how that could be useful, really. So the Pope is dead. I think you are the... Okay, yeah, you are the Syndicalist. We don't gotta worry about them too much. I mean, we do have to worry about them, of course, when the Second Valkyrie actually begins. But we still have 3 years to prepare for that. I think like 3.5 years to prepare for that. So if anything, I wonder if it actually makes sense for us to immediately start planning for a naval invasion of Britain. And take them out of the war ASAP. If we want to go straight across the English Channel, yeah. I think that actually makes more sense. Because I feel like this front line with the Reichspakt can probably hold its ground for a decent amount of time. So we'll prepare a naval invasion. You have 27 ships. We're not going to go, of course, day one. The problem, like, we've had several campaigns. I think our Ireland campaign had the same issue where we tried navally invade Britain on day one, and like a lot of our troops got killed. So we'll try not to have that happen this time around. But if we can, you know, land in Britain, get a foothold, transfer that land to Germany so the AI sends troops to Britain, we can probably get the British out of the war relatively quickly. Pope John the 13th, the Socialist Pope. He's been elected to Italy. I don't think that really makes a huge difference. Like, it's not like the Pope will then kind of aid the SRI. So it doesn't make a big difference, to us at least. Legislate freedoms. You are a stability increase, right? Yeah, for consumer factory goods and political power cost. Which wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily. I would like to change these laws, but unfortunately, we don't have war support. We're only at 13%. We actually need world tension to increase a little bit as well. Once, the Second American Civil War should create a bump in world tension. I think I'll just kind of save my political power for now until I can increase manpower, increase military construction, all that good stuff. We have just 15 more days. You're a stability boost, but you're not a... You're not a boost to war support, unfortunately. We could maybe get war propaganda. Never mind, we cannot because we don't have enough world tension. Which I guess makes sense. We will go for concentrated industry 1. Generally a pretty good research to have. So after this, which way do we want our government to go? We can drop the gold standard, which is... Construction speed goes up. Resource to the market. No, civilian factory construction speed goes up. Trade missions. Oil refinery. Political power. 2 civilian factories in the end. For the conservatives, we can get infrastructure. More infrastructure. You are just a 10% stability loss, but I'm assuming we can probably get that better in the future. 2 civilian factories, 5% stability. Or we can go for the dictatorship, which gives us military factories. I mean, going for the dictatorship doesn't seem like a bad idea. Because of that 5% recruited population. So if we can, we might actually go for CNA VHS. Or VHS CNA. Or the VHN dictatorship. We'll probably go for one of those. Getting for the paternal autocrats probably is going to be the best option for us. I think that could theoretically lead to a syndicalist coup. I'm trying to remember exactly how that happens for the Bahari Commune. But the falling living standards. Ever since February the 3rd, Black Monday, and the collapse of the Berlin stock market, the economy of the Netherlands has been suffering. Our reliance on Germany has resulted in many of our workers becoming unemployed, as German companies choose to cut jobs in the Netherlands first, spreading syndicalist ideas among the population. As a result, the Social Democratic Party, or the SDAP, has been gaining many new members and its political power is increasing. Many of their ideas have merit, but in order to pass them, we would have to bring them into a governing coalition, a potentially dangerous option. Well, right now, we are the ARP. We got the VNH. I mean, getting a military dictatorship might not be the worst idea. We can't choose any of these options quite yet. So, if we can't choose any of you, I think we're going to go for a research bonus towards infantry equipment, because I feel like that's generally pretty good. And of course, what we want to do is once construction 1's done, we want to research this next, even though it's way ahead of time. Yeah, no, I still think we want to research this next, because our 100% research bonus will apply to the Johnson M141, or M1941, I should say. Which is research in 1939, but don't worry about that too much. Or, I mean, we do get 2 times 100%, because there's another bonus in there as well. When is our election, by the way? Our election is in May of 1937, so we might have a long, long time until we can actually choose one of these focuses. Which does kind of suck, I will admit. Popularity social conservatism, 10% for you, and your social democracy. But I don't think we want to go for the social democracy, mostly because they don't give us any military factories, and don't give us a 5% recruitable population, which is really good. And so construction 1 has now finished. Let's go for... I mean, it's May right now. Well, let me just check, because you are done in 45 days. When are you done? You're done in 38 days. So we'll actually save our points here. We'll go for you next. You, for mechanical computing, then we're going to get the infantry equipment that we want. And that should be pretty good for us. We're still on free trade, but I think that's okay. And we're actually already on labor conscription. And getting extensive required 50% war support, so you're probably much less likely to happen. So if that's the case, we probably actually want one of you then. Breakthrough. I mean, breakthrough's pretty good. We're actually gonna go for you then next. That should make our plants a little bit cheaper. You guys are going to sail to here. Never mind, you're not going to sail to there, right? I said one instead of my submarines. So I know you're deploying in this port. I want you to deploy in that port. Thank you. Because you're all going to kind of combine with this army. Because what are you? You are submarine attack plus 20%. You're exactly the admiral we want in charge of this fleet. Even though I don't think you have a lot of submarines right now. You have 14. 14 is a pretty good number. And you have 10 destroyers as well. The opening of the Walburg. A ferry over the Walburg River was one of the Netherlands' busiest ferries. Recognizing its limited capacity, the municipal authorities of Nijmegen started construction of Walburg in 1931. On the 16th of June 1936, the finished bridge was finally being officially opened by Her Majesty the Queen. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah! Thank you very much, Queen, for opening up a beautiful factory for us. We know there's a military junta, but I don't think we necessarily want the military junta. I think we just want the VNH. The syndicalists have won their elections in Italy. Did the Traveliers have won their election in France? They might have. Actually, I don't know when their election actually fires. And when are our troops going to be ready to deploy? Because I'm assuming they're still missing a lot of equipment. You're missing a lot of infantry equipment, which is really of no surprise there. I find it a little bit strange. They want to train everybody here equally. Instead of, like, finishing one guy first. Princess Juliana announces her engagement. It's been observed that Crown Princess Juliana has been seeing Prince Bernhard zu Liepen-Beestford, whom she had met at the Winter Olympics earlier this year, but the announcement of her engagement with him over radio still took the nation by surprise. Despite the hardships the people are enduring in these trying times due to the effects of the Black Monday crisis, this comes with a welcome cheer and joy is evident throughout the country. 5 political power, thank you very much. And you are going to go for you. It's going to take us 306 days. It's expensive, because it is a 1936, or 1938 technology, but I still think it makes sense for us. You might do the ready battleships, right? I just don't think it makes a lot of sense for us to do that. We can also get the next level of 100% research bonus, but I think that might be a little bit too much. 4 naval dockyards, as well as submarine attack going up. Yeah, no, that seems really good. I will take that. As 4 naval dockyards will allow us to pump out submarines at a much, much greater pace. And we do still have 6 steel that we're not actually using right now. And using that 6 steel for more submarines probably makes sense. I mean, if anything, us using one factory for importing rubber from the Dutch East Indies probably doesn't make sense. But that's okay. We're also at -5 steel because Germany, I'm assuming, is actually not exporting steel anymore. We won't trade with you. We'll trade with the Americans instead. America has a ton of steel. They'll be willing to trade with us. Crumbling of the pillars. Dutch society has long been highly stratified into distinct social groups, referred to as pillars. These pillars all have their own social institutions, their own newspapers, broadcasting organizations, political parties, trade unions, and farmers' associations, banks, schools, hospitals, universities, scouting organizations, and sport clubs. Some companies even hire only personnel of a specific religion or ideology. This has led to a situation where many people have no personal contact with people outside their own pillar. However, the recent economic crisis has shaken up the established order to its core. Economic hardships have spread socialist ideology beyond its established pillar, with syndicalists and council communists emboldened by the rhetoric emanating from Paris. At the same time, many young and unemployed from more traditional rightist pillars are feeling disenfranchised and abandoned by their condition, turning instead to the radical nationalist parties such as the Alliance for National Reconstruction, the VNH, or to restore stability and prosperity to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Dear God, no. Another 7% stability lost. Fantastic. But I think that at least for right now, this is going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name is Swim. If you enjoyed, my thumbs up. Not really, try thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.